Hello, I've got my rollers in. My name is K Mama, also known as Kim Phillips, and guess who I am? I'm Mrs. Hopkins' mama. I'm so excited because I get to read you a book today called The Queen of Style. And let me tell you a little bit about the book. It's about a queen that learns to do hair. And guess what I do? I do hair. So on this Think About It Thursday, I want y'all to think about what it would be like if you got to be a hairdresser and you got to be a queen of style. So here we are, we're in my beauty shop, and I'm going to get started reading The Queen of Style. There once was a queen who ruled over a very small kingdom of farmers and sheep. Every day the queen, whose name was Sophie, would sit on her throne and wait for someone to come in with a problem. If there was one, which there usually wasn't. The sheep were well behaved and so were the farmers, but Queen Sophie had nothing to do. And she was bored. See, look at all her little farmers. They're out there working so hard, and the sheep. Sophie called for the jester. Do y'all know what a jester is? A jester is someone that's supposed to make you laugh all the time. Amuse me, she commanded, and the jester did his best. Day after day, he told jokes, he juggled the balls, he somersaulted, and then there was nothing he could think of to do. So then they were both bored. Can't you do something? Asked Queen Sophie. No, answered the jester crossly. Can't you? The queen had to think about that. Look, there's the jester, and he's doing trying to make all the fun things. And there's the queen. She's bored. I don't know how to do anything but be the queen, she told the jester as he packed his bag to leave. Well, then learn, he said shortly, and he left. He said goodbye. Oh, she pored over all the books in the castle. She read the news parchment, and finally one day, Sophie spotted an ad for something that seemed to be just what she was looking for. Let's read this ad. The Royal College of Beauty. Correspondence course. Learn the art of beautifying in 12 easy lessons. Amazing new styles, exciting new looks. Enroll now. Sophie was excited when the supplies from the beauty school arrived. She couldn't wait to get started. Every night she stayed up late studying the history of beautifying. She memorized directions for cutting, curling, coloring, and plucking. Now let me tell you a little something about plucking. In the beauty industry, we don't call it plucking. You pluck a chicken. What you do in the beauty industry is you tweeze or you wax. Okay? So just wanted to give y'all a little clarification for that. But there was one part of the course that had the queen stumped. She was supposed to practice each lesson 50 times on 50 different people. How would she ever do that? She didn't know 50 people. She wasn't even sure if there was 50 people in her whole kingdom. But there were people in her kingdom, and they would just have to help out their queen. So Sophie wrote out Sophie wrote out a proclamation and tacked it up on every tree in the kingdom. When Sophie opened the castle doors the next morning, all of the people of the kingdom were there waiting. Right this way, the queen directed. One by one, she had each person sit down on a chair in the middle of the courtyard. She pinned a sheet around their necks and wet down their hair, and then she lifted up her shiny scissors and slowly began to cut. A few days later, Sophie was ready to practice the next lesson again. So she rode around the kingdom, tacking up notices all over the trees. Everyone come to the castle tomorrow, the queen's orders, and bring your sheep too. This time, Queen Sophie curled the hair of everyone in the kingdom. She rolled and steamed the hair, and all of the men too, the women, the boys, and the girls, one by one. She didn't notice the grumbling of the men. She was too busy. And when she was finished with all the people, she curled all of the wool of all of the sheep. Look at those sheep. They're hiding. They're getting worried about having to get their hair curled. The next week, the queen tacked up another notice. When everyone came, Sophie took them by the hand one by one, and she soaked and filed and buffed and painted until everyone had been manicured to perfection. When she finished working on all the farmers' fingernails, she went out to look at the sheep. It was difficult, but she managed to prettify their hoofs a little, and the queen was singing when she went to bed. She had never, ever, ever had so much fun. Although, all through the summer, Queen Sophie worked on her course. Every week, she commanded her subjects to come to the palace. She shaved and shaped and colored, and she waved. She steamed and conditioned and waxed. She tied ribbons and bows, and it was time to pluck. Everyone in the kingdom had graceful, arching eyebrows, but she gave up on the sheep. The queen had been working so hard that she almost didn't notice how much she had learned. She hardly realized that she had developed a flair for style. She spent all of her time studying for the final exam. She tacked up the new command on the trees almost daily. She worked so hard. One morning, Queen Sophie could hear the rumbling of voices outside before she even opened the castle doors. All of her subjects were gathered, and they did not look happy. Yes, the queen asked sweetly. Is there a problem? It took some time for the crowd to quiet down enough for everyone to be heard, and then a large, burly man stepped forward. The problem we have, Your Majesty, is you. I don't want to come to the castle every other day to have my eyelashes dyed and my hair curled. I've got sheep to tend. And that's right, called a woman. I've got no need to have my chins shaved. I need to be spinning wool. Another farmer spoke up. And I would like my sheep just to look like sheep. Sophie was devastated. She had been having so much fun that she hadn't noticed that the others weren't. She was very quiet as they complained, one by one. When the crowd fell silent, the queen finally spoke. I'm sorry, she said. You don't have to come here anymore. I didn't mean to bother you. I guess I just thought you were enjoying everything as much as I was. The people looked at one another. Then the big farmer stepped forward again. I don't like curling, he said, but I do like my beard trimmed. And I like to have my hair dyed red, shouted the woman in the back. Then the others began to call out, I want my nails done, and I like to have my hair curled. I like a shave now and again, and the children, well, they could use a haircut now that summer's well on. My George has never looked so good, and I did like the smell of my sheep with that fancy shampoo. The queen looked at the farmers standing there. Her farmers. She thought about they had come to the castle day after day, rain or shine. Really, it was remarkable how patient they had been. So Sophie said, from this time forward, she proclaimed, just come to the castle when you want to. I promise that from now on, I will do your bidding. She means she's going to do whatever they would like her to do. Then, one day, there was a letter to everyone's doorstep, and it read, I'm finally graduating. Yes, it's true. I'm glad for all I've learned to do. Couldn't have made it through it without you. Come to my party and bring your sheep too. The party was a great success. As Queen Sophie circulated around the courtyard with a tray of dairy sandwiches, she realized that she had gained something more, way more important than the license as a beautician. She had friends. She knew that Jack liked his hair long and that Susanna preferred the lavender of the scented shampoo. She knew who was expecting a baby and whose grandmother had been sick and who was visiting from out of town. She had gotten to know each sheep too, and she had almost forgotten about being queen. It didn't really seem important anymore. The farmers didn't forget. They were so proud when they went to market with their beautiful wives and handsome children. But it was the spectacular sheep that brought the real thing to Sophie, who became known from kingdom to kingdom ever after as the Queen of Style. Ta-da! Did you like that book? Wasn't that so good that she ended up making friends and learning how to have friends? That's what happens in my beauty shop. All of the people that come to get their hair curled and coiffed and their fingernails and their eyebrows fixed, they're my friends. And I love them so much. I hope you enjoyed your book, The Queen of Style. And thank you so much for letting me be your guest reader. Have a great Think About It Thursday.